Good morning, guys, and welcome to Touch Base Daily. And guess who's here in the house with me today?
I
Mr.
know.
Chris Edwards.
What's up,
It's a
sir?
special day. It's a special day. So, guys, for those that are joining in this morning, we are going to be talking about, obviously, this is a special week. So, we are dedicating this week to the 2024 DNC Convention. This is day 2 and our takeaways. And because everyone in this community has a voice and others may want to hear it. I know I love hearing the voices of this community. And so, therefore, here we are talking about the amazing DNC convention last night. We got 2 Obamas for the price of one.
Yeah. Hold on. Before
Man,
we go any
what
further,
a difference.
before we go any further, can we just comment how well rested you looked?
I do. Do I look rested?
You look rested.
Well, I tell you one thing, it's family time is so good. And I had we laugh a lot around here. And we laughed yesterday, we laughed last night, we laughed while we were walking around, we laughed while we were looking at TV, we laughed while we were looking at DNC. We do a lot of laughing, and they say laughter gives you life. So I am
Yes.
so thankful for people that I am around, all that make a difference in how I feel and how I wander in the world, because it's so good to have people that make you smile and make you laugh.
Well, it shows, my friends.
Well, thank you, sir. I feel rested, and I've been working. I've been working, although I've been on this vacation, and so I just sent some photos out yesterday that will be. I think I can say it. It's going to be. They're probably going to be in Forbes. So I was very happy to get those
Come on
photos out
now.
yesterday. So I'm on a roll. ABC News, and then now hopefully Forbes, and if they approve the photos for my client, they'll be in Forbes, and then some other magazines and periodicals for my client, who is a CEO, and what he does. And so that's going to be a lot of fun to get that work out there. And again, so I'm gonna create a crawl on my website that says ABC News, Forbes, National Geographic, New Yorker, and Brooklyn
Yes.
Magazine, and all the other stuff. So we'll see.
Come on now.
Yeah.
I'm here for all the accolades.
So it is. So let's first of all, let's greet people. I see there's some folks in the room, and the first person in the building, she gets the gold. Is Aya? Aya is in the building. She says, "Good morning." Let me just pop that up there. Hold on a second. Let me click right. There we go. Click. There we go. Oh, is it gonna come up? Come on, come on. There we go.
There you go.
Good morning, she says, Ron and everyone, and at RLP. She says, "Thank you, Joe, Barack, Michelle. Something magical is in the air. It's hope. Hope is making a comeback."
Yes.
I
love that
agree.
line. Love that line.
Hope is making a comeback. Good morning, Rashawn. Rashawn gets the silver medal
Good
today.
morning.
The silver medal. And then she says, "Good morning to everyone as well. Good morning, RLP family." We have in here, "Good morning. I hope all is well with y'all." She says, Anthony Roland is in the building, says, "Good morning." Amparo is in the building. She says, "Grand rising." Hey, Brian is in the building. Brian Young Creative is in the building. I have to send Brian an invitation. I sent a couple of invitations out to talk on the panel today. So let me do that in a bit. Lisa is in the building. Good morning. And who else is here? Anthony says, "The Obamas had me up past my bedtime."
This is a special week, so bedtimes don't really count this week.
It was absolutely amazing. And Hannah says, "Good morning, Chris and Ron and everyone." Was it? Man, I'm having a DNC. This is what Brian says. Man, I'm having a DNC hangover. Is really good. And good morning again, Rashawn says. And Paro, Jazzy is in the building. What's going on, Jazzy? Jazzy's in the building. She says, good morning, everyone. And I am Reese is in the building. She's got the good morning as well. Who else is in here? Who else? Oh, the girls club is in the building. Bryson is in the building. What is Bryson saying? Bryson got something else going on, I'm sure. He says, what's up, RLP fam? What's up, CQ fam? I'm at New York City as we speak, but last night, as epic, the Obamas shut it down. Last
As
night, they
always.
do not play. Yes, indeed, Bryson. I wish I was in New York to hang out with you, B, Mr. Bryson. And who else is in here? Empire says, yes, congrats, Ron. Love that for you. Talking about my well-rested vacation. Okay. I see Kelly A's in the building. What's up? What's up, Kelly A? Let's see here. Hey, Elise is in the building. Elise is in the building, and she says, good morning, Ron
Good
and
morning.
Chris.
Why is she not on here?
She is. She's in the room. She's in
Okay.
backstage right now.
Okay.
She's backstage. And Amparo says, I cried during Michelle's Obama speech and was stomping my feet when Barack took the stage.
You know what? You saw a lot of
Man.
tears in the audience of people. I think it's the nostalgia, especially when President Obama came on. I remember, I can't believe it's been 20 years since he did that speech. But I remember when he first came on, they brought him on. This is before he was ever really known. And he gave that speech. And I remember listening to it and just thinking like, oh my God, this guy could be president one day. And a lot of people had that thought. He's such an orator and he just commands the room, and the way he uses his words, he's very thoughtful. I'm just like, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. But I remember
Obama, when he was younger, I mean, was he a senator?
He wasn't a senator at the time. He was, I think, running.
He wasn't yet, right?
He was running for the seat, I believe, but he wasn't a senator yet when he gave that first speech.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he delivered that
people
in
took notice of him.
2004. Well, that's 2004.
Yeah.
I think that was a 2004 election. Who else is in the building? Look who else is in the building. Cheryl Miller is in the room.
Hello,
there she is.
everyone.
She says, Grand Rising, folks. And we have Felicia, Miss Fifi's in the building. She said, last night was so dope. And we also have in here, let's see who else is in the building. Okay, with no further ado, we're gonna just dive right in. We have the wonderful Gwendolyn. I'm gonna bring her to the stage, and I'm gonna bring our Elise to the stage.
Come on, Elise.
The ladies
Come
are
on
here.
Now. This is the power panel right here.
We are in our Brady Bunch squares.
Last night when I was watching, I'm like, I'm coming on today. We're going to figure it out.
That's like he sent me, he says, Ron, if you want me to come on, I can come on. I said, I would love that. So guys, what did you think? Ladies first.
Miss Elise, I'll let you go first.
Elise, what did you think of last night's DNC Convention Day 2?
Look, I'm going to take Michelle Obama's word. People are showing up and doing something. I mean, the way they put that together, and the way, like with the Obamas, it wasn't just hitting you right. Like they didn't come out and say certain things. But the way they said it, you knew, and they felt it. There's some people some MAGA people, and who are just on fire because they don't know what to do with that. And so with watching all of that and just how they did the roll call.
Yes, roll call.
Roll call.
Loved it.
That roll call was amazing.
The roll call.
And how, how when she did her acceptance and she's over in that same place that he was in. I was like, they did
That was epic.
Did it. It was epic. The way they did what they did last night was what they need to keep doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They say they're building. It's not over yet.
So.
They're going to keep
getting started.
We got 2 more days. I don't know what we're going to do.
I love that. This was last.
Oh, okay.
Did he?
Gwendolyn, what were you feeling about last night's event?
So obviously a party, right? Because clearly the roll call, the roll call was it. But also, I got like this sort of pitter patter in my heart, if you will, because I'm thinking about how you have these 2 parties. And there is one that is clearly enjoying and really living in what's beautiful about America is that we're individuals and we're different. And you're seeing all these different faces and ages and orientations, and everybody's in there and it's joyful, right? And I thought to myself, it's just a striking difference of people who are, in my opinion, fear-minded, right? That zero-sum game that I have to take away from you for me to have something. And then there are all these other people who are like, we can all have a piece of this pie. There's no need for us to have to like hold somebody down and do power over. It just striking difference. But man, I was like, I need to get me a cocktail because we partying tonight. So I welcome my husband a couple of times.
I'm in cocktail mode.
Can I say something, Ron? So hold on.
There were some great quotes, clearly.
Yes.
We're
gonna go through some of them. We're gonna go through some of them.
It's been 16 years since he.
Yeah.
I was like, really? I was like, oh shoot, really? It has been like time to.
We're getting old,
right?
We're getting old, and time is moving fast.
Yeah.
Chris, what you guys say about it?
Last night was, like Gwendolyn said, it was a party. And when they had DJ Cassidy out there on the stage, DJing, let me tell you something. I've experienced that firsthand. I did a show with them earlier this year, and I know that feeling you get. But to have him, like literally, every state had their own song, and it was appropriate to each state. And then to have everyone, this is the vibe. And Atlanta came to show up and show out. Lil Jon did his thing. I loved every minute of it. I could not like take my eyes off of it. And I've been watching both days, and I stayed up afterwards and watched all the commentary and everything. Michelle Obama, she can do no wrong in my eyes. This woman is amazing. She outdid her husband. Honestly, they probably should have put her on last. I mean, the roar of the audience as she spoke, it was deafening. And you know what? The only sad thing about that is that, you know, I wish, like so many other people wish, that she had run for president a couple years ago, maybe. Because I honestly, hands down, she would win. I don't even think there's a doubt. But I know she would never do it. And you know, it's okay. But loved every minute of it. And let me tell you something. They said that, you know, you thought the first 2 nights was good. They're building to something. And trust me, if the rumors are true, Beyonce is going to be there tomorrow night.
I'm thinking if they bring out Kendrick Lamar and
they not like us.
I was like, oh my goodness.
He can come out tonight.
They're clearly building up to something. But
yeah, I think Beyonce might open her to come out.
That would be great.
You think so?
I think so.
You think so? I mean, well, then, you know, hold on a second. Well, first of all, let me go to the videotape, because I said today, this is not a for-profit platform, so I can get away with things on YouTube that I would normally do because I'm not making money. So I'm going all in today, and I have something to share. And so here we go. We're going to share this footage because this footage is so good. And here we go. This is so good.
Were the headliners for night 2 of the Democratic National Convention. The former president and first lady did not hold back when it came to Donald Trump delivering fiery speeches in support of Kamala Harris.
she understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward. We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth.
That line was everything to me.
Falling forward.
If we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules so we always win. If we see a mountain in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. Now,
that was, can I say, y'all, that was that priceless or what?
There were a lot of
Absolutely.
priceless moments.
Priceless.
I couldn't keep up with all of them. There were so
Everything.
many last night, but it was all spot on.
Many. I sat
You know
there
what
when
I
I
love?
wrote this down.
They kept.
First of all, we're talking about Michelle right now, but it said, first of all, she comes out with hope is making a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And then that line, we don't get the benefit of affirmative action of generational wealth. That was like, take the mic and just drop the mic. She could have just walked off and said nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't that describe Trump all the way? He is benefiting from generational affirmative action. I mean, I never heard anyone put those words together like that.
What I loved about her is that she was very clever in her word usage. She was taking digs at him without actually saying negative things. Mm-hmm. And I mean, everyone knew who he was talking about. And they were just like great one-liners. It took him out. There's no way he can come back from those.
Right, because she never mentioned his name. She just went through the thing, and that was the beauty of it. Never mentioned a name other than what they tried to do to them. How they tried to paint them. She never mentioned his name, and just to say the things that she said in that piece, that whole section right there, when she was talking about the escalator, all of those are things in his life, right? The whining, both of them talked about whining. The whining, everything that she said was like, it was almost like it was getting to a crescendo. It's like somebody's head was exploding last night, whoever was there, and didn't like it. So if they were watching it last night, they were like, did she just say that? It was almost that feeling of when Jasmine Crockett asked that question, but she never said her name, but you knew it was you. That's the part.
Yes.
They don't talk enough about the affirmative action of generational wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And how
can I add something to that? Not even those two individuals talking and using their words. It was even the DNC and how the cameramen use the camera angles. When Obama was talking about how the crowd sizes, and then they went from that close up of him to the overall wide shot of the audience.
And that was back from the back scene, the back looking out.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was perfect. That is not AI generated, sir. That's a real crowd.
They were on it last night.
Honestly, they could end it tomorrow with Kamala, and it will be perfect. It was epic. I'm going to use I am Reese says the roll call was epic, and but the night was epic. It was just how amazing that a husband and wife are truly the best orators that the Democrat Party has.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of great orators, but the Obamas as a couple are just incredible.
Powerful.
Very.
Yeah.
I'm going to share some more.
I think for her too,
and
for her, she didn't go. She you know how she always like we go high on that kind. So she did it, as Chris said, without the negative word, but she did it with the words that focus on the individual that needed to be said. She said what needed to be said.
Yes.
They went after him, and I'm glad they did, because normally I think Democrats are too soft.
Yes, I agree. They normally too soft. I was glad to see them really go after them.
And what was interesting is that she went from, you can tell she's changed her philosophy. When they go low, we go high. Well, she says when they go low, we go right after them. We go
match
after
their
them.
energy.
We knock them down. We go after them. We pin them. We go after them with everything we have. Here's more from this from her speech.
Unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be Black. I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those Black jobs?
He killed a bipartisan.
I sat there and I said, Michelle went in on a level that I love crafting of words. Mm-hmm. I only live vicariously through these people because I can't speak like that, but I live vicariously through people and how they're able to create a vision, a mental scene by words. The power of words. I mean, she said the job he may be thinking about is a Black job. Okay.
And you know what? He created that slogan, and I'm so glad that we've taken it and just run with it.
Yep. And that's the beauty of it, using his own words. And what can he say? Where did they get it from? You can claim that. Yeah, they got that from me. Yes, they did. They got it from you, and they used it on you. It's a couple of comments that were really interesting. Jazzy said Michelle Obama came out with a blowtorch. Anthony said she got it and didn't come up dirty. I was like, but she was,
it's very true.
I think, lessons are learned. She learned some things. So she said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get at what it needs to be got at, but I'm going to do it this way. And she did it. She came out and she hit them hard. Yes. She took off whatever gloves she had on. She took them off and she said, I'm in it. we gonna win this, and we know how to do it. They know how to, they're going at the psychology of the man.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They are going for his men. He emotionally cannot handle all of this. I mean, Fifi says, child, I spit out my water when she said that.
Yeah.
I can see it.
That is the line of the century. That is the line of the century.
That was the line of the century. Mm-hmm. And Lisa says, and she looked phenomenal.
As always.
Yeah, right? Like, has she ever not looked phenomenal? I mean,
amazing.
I love the cross lapel that she had. Whoever her designer is, amazing. Like, she took a regular business suit and she turned it to her own thing.
Yeah.
She always does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She always does. Here's a question now. This is a good I like questions like this. Now, Drowning in Music says, serious question. Why doesn't Kamala have her policies on the campaign website? Can I give you a little bit? Can we get your insight? Well, first of all, she's been sharing her policies since last week. So every day she's been sharing. However, she cannot put that on her website yet until she has to accept the nomination. She is the presumed nominee, but they gave her votes yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But Thursday, she will be, once she gets on the stage, she will say, I accept the nominee. So there's a lot of things. There's what they call steps.
Yeah.
There are steps along the way to this journey. You just don't
Can I
come
say
out
something
all
there?
at once. But she's been good about her policies. Trump has
Right.
no policies at all. So I don't know why people are saying why Kamala can't come out with her policies. Not going against you, Drowning. But people are all over the media saying, why isn't we don't see her policies? We don't see her policies. The woman is talking her policies. She's been talking her policies since last week.
Right.
So
you have to remember,
pieces of it.
she's only been in this 4 weeks. I mean, and
It's only
can I just add
it
something?
is only 1 month today that
Do
she's
you know
been
what?
the nominee.
It was announced this morning or late last night that she is on the verge of actually banking $500 billion.
Wow.
Sorry, billion. Wrong.
Incredible.
$500 million.
Take away the zero.
Billion.
In a month.
Right. But I think that people.
I see Cheryl says, she said, who is going to tell him?
Oh, he heard.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, we still have to listen. Most people are getting that because media keeps saying, but media hasn't pushed him. We still have to hold mainstream media accountable.
Right. We haven't heard his policies.
You have to hold them accountable.
He is the nominee.
Right. He is the nominee. He has been their nominee forever. So
we have his policies.
Mainstream media. I'm just saying mainstream media.
Project 2025.
Project 2025 is his policy.
And they are talking about it.
Yeah, and they keep coming out of it. But my thing is, listen to her. She's been saying it all the time. That when you hear her, she's saying what her policies are. And you have to wait until this is over so she can post them.
But if we look at it, if I may, if we look at it, it is what they've always done. They did the exact same thing with the Biden. Like we haven't heard anything about this other guy who was clearly old and delirious and infatuated with Hannibal Lecter. They don't talk about any of that stuff. So the fact that you have a woman who is running for a very high office and they're trying to find every single thing to bitch about. She doesn't talk to the media. She hasn't done this. She hasn't done that. Even if she did, you would still criticize her.
Oh, absolutely. And
so I say, don't give them any of your time. There's no point. Talk to the people. They can get in line like everybody else, and they can make up their stories. Like the first day I watched the convention on NBC, and it was agitating how they were trying so hard to get every person they spoke to talk about, well, is Biden angry? Is he upset? Is his ego bruised? And it feels like, it's like, you guys want a story so bad. It's just disgusting. So I've been watching on YouTube since then. But they will find something if they want to find something. I'm just like, screw them. Like who, like whatever. If you want to figure it out, then you can go listen to her.
Yeah, before we get Brian's just in the bill, but before we go there, drowning in music says, do you think the capping of groceries is a good thing? Though other countries have done so, and the results are food scarcity and companies stop producing. Not so in America. That will never happen where a company stop producing in America. Companies are going to continue to make their money, and they do need regulating because one of the problems is, and which is interesting, Drowning, that you just made this question based on her policy that she did share. So you are aware that she has made a policy statement, but the policy of capping and preventing companies for raising prices and taking advantage of people, because especially when you have record profits, there's one thing to say, guys, you cannot raise your prices and they're doing bad. That's another story. But we know inflation is not, people and people that are not critical thinkers don't understand that the inflation we are seeing the inflation that is causing havoc on Americans' wallets is not because of the Biden policies. It is because when prices were being raised during the pandemic, which was cause and effect because of supply and demand. Supply was low, so prices went up because of all of the ships that were lined up on the Pacific coast trying to get into the country. Not only that, China was shut down for a year and a half and was not producing. Another reason why prices went up.
Yep.
However, the bottleneck was over after 2 years, and China started producing after a year and a half. Therefore, the prices should have gone down. But corporations said, oh, they raised their prices. I'm going to raise mine. Mm-hmm. And then when you look at the Wall Street numbers over the last 2 years, all of those companies have made record profits. You cannot tell the American people you are making record profits.
Yep.
And you have to raise prices. It's unacceptable.
And lay
there
off
needs
people.
To be some capping
and do layoffs
of the regulations. Mm-hmm. I just had to go there. Thank you, Drowning, for that question, though. That's a good question. Anyone want to add on to that?
Oh boy,
you and I have talked about it because I think about like when Verizon wanted to raise our price, and I'm thinking it's Verizon. There's no physical something going on there, right?
Right.
It's like, where exactly are you seeing this pain because of inflation? Like, I didn't get it. Now I'm grandfathered in, so there's a lot of us who they sent a letter to, but you see people who were just raising prices just to raise the prices. I mean, I remember going out to Taco Bell. I was like, it's 2:00 in the morning. Let me get something. And they were talking $20. I was like, what did I buy? What did I buy exactly? Or going into the grocery store and like your cereal, your milk, eggs. I was like, we're not having eggs today because this is it's ridiculous. It got so out of pocket. But of course, they go to, well, we have these admin fees and this and that. It was baloney. That was greed. Has been, will always be. So cut that stuff out. I say there's a lot of stuff to cap.
Right.
The CEO salaries.
Right. And the fact that
let's not go there. But yes, that's a whole nother conversation.
And the fact that Target and Walmart dropped those prices.
So let's give Brian a chance to talk. What's going on, Brian? Welcome to the panel. Brian, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah. That DNC hangover, man. Gosh, so much on that. I'll just drop this that gets me. How much profit is enough profit? How much profit is enough profit for these corporations? It's not capping grocery prices. I great question, but here's where I feel I'm not an expert, but here's where I feel like some be specific or some specificity or whatever the word is. Look at the profit margins and
increase. Okay.
Oh, look at the profit margins. Like some of these companies have had 700% profit increases. How much is enough? On top of that, if you're talking specifically groceries, because I can talk automotive. If you're talking groceries, how many of us have noticed what I'm about to say and maybe have not voiced it? Bag of Doritos or chips or whatever. The price has gotten higher. The size has gotten smaller.
That's everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, it's been going on for years.
Yep.
So I'll just add to that. And anyway.
Well, the whole thing is, again, and Kamala saying, because these are what we call goods that are necessary for people. Is necessary for people. Bread, milk, water, eggs. These are certain products that are necessary for consumption for us as a society. So you have to do become, and like Gwendolyn said, we talk about it all the time. Why is Hulu raising their prices? Why is Disney raising it? Why are all these companies raising prices and it's doing nothing? I mean, really, and they got record profits. Doesn't make sense.
May I add one more thing, Ron?
I want to get back to the convention.
May I add one more thing? So my charity of choice is a Tarrant area food bank, right? I go there, I give my photography for that, but I also help out. And it still pains me to see working families. These are not people who are not working. These are working families who wait out in the heat. And it's hot here, y'all. I think it's hotter than hell here. But they wait in line. I mean, hey, 111 the other day. It's some shit going on down here. But they're waiting in line for the basics, right? And it is milk, eggs, fresh fruit, some boxed goods. People are waiting in line for food, and these are working people. How is it that I'm working and I still can't put food on the table? That don't make sense.
Part of that has to do with rent and mortgage prices increasing. So it's either, all right, do you pay your mortgage, have somewhere to live, or do you buy food? I mean, you need to have somewhere to live to bring that food to eat. So that's where these food banks come into play. I mean, it's ridiculous. The food prices. I mean, some people say, oh, they're not really seeing that many that high increase of food prices. But when you really think about it, you are. When we go to the market, like the few little things we buy, I'm like, what the hell? And you have to know how to be a savvy shopper. You can't just buy everything at one place anymore. You have to go to like several different places. We go to the regular market, we go to Costco, we go to farmers markets. You have to know where to go and buy things in season, because if not, you're going to be paying out the ass, as they would say.
Right.
Yep. Well, also, can we go back? So we want to go back to the convention, and I want to also talk about Obama's speech. Obama's speech was another. I mean, it was incredible. Let's go to the videotape, and then we'll talk about it after. Okay, let me get this here. Oh, did I click on that? Hold on a second. Let me present on that. Hold on. Let me get that back. And here we go.
Immigration deal written in part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress that would have helped secure our southern border, because he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign. He doesn't. Do not boo.
Vote.
Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in between, we have all had people like that in our lives. People like Kamala's parents, who crossed oceans because they believed in the promise of America. People like Tim's parents, who taught him about the importance of service. Good, hard-working people who weren't famous or powerful, but who managed in countless ways to lead this country just a little bit better than they found it. As much as any policy or program, I believe that's what we yearn for. A return to an America where we work together and look out for each other. A restoration of what Lincoln called, on the eve of Civil War, our bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about.
Joining us now from...
That was so, man, that made me so happy. I like that. Let me just cut this off the screen. Stop sharing. There we go. I mean, think about that. I mean, and he went on and on about some incredible, I mean, I could listen to that speech, both of their speeches, over and over again. As a matter of fact, I have it saved because I think I think all the people that went, because there are going to be some dark days coming.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
There are going to be some dark days coming in this election in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And the Republicans are going to throw everything they have at the Harris Walz campaign. They're going to throw everything. It's going to be, they're going to try to create scandals. They're going to try to create every single thing they can dig up. They're going to go to their cribs. They're going to find out what they did when they were babies. That's an exaggeration.
No, you're absolutely right.
You never know.
But they're going to look for every little thing to discredit these people. And we need to have these positive messages to reaffirm, like, don't boo, vote. Elise, speak, Elise.
Well, that's always been his slogan, though. When people started booing, he said, "Don't boo, vote." That's his whole point. But when you look at just the impact of how he crafted what he said, how he crafted, and one of the things that everyone should pay attention to is how inclusive they are. Not just to talk about that just in the audience, but when they talk, they're talking to everyone: Democrats, Republican, Independent, anyone that's who has not decided yet. They make a point of saying this is for everyone. And I think that's real critical that they keep saying it. Both of them said it, and it's being said. It was said yesterday, the day before as well. And they're intentional. They're very intentional about making sure that everyone because they know everyone's watching. So they're making sure that everyone's included. And I think, with her, they both came out in both of their speeches, even if he didn't say it out loud, was about hope. It was about the hope and belief that's what's going to happen. But as you said, Ron, with the understanding that they know the road is going to be tough, and we have to stay motivated. And I think their job, that what they did, they mastered their job last night, was the motivation and excitement, not only just the crowd, but anyone watching. Like you said, we were all up to like 1 o'clock last night.
Oh yeah. It didn't matter. We weren't going to bed. We went to dinner, and we had a great time celebrating Adrian's wife's birthday, and we had a beautiful time. But when we got back to this house, I was like, we got to turn it on. And we were all looking at it, and it was really priceless. I love, and Obama starts out with, "I am fired up,
right,
and I'm feeling hopeful."
And you see how he was able to control the crowd more than anyone else. Like when he wanted to be quiet down, he just put that hand up, and they started listening. I said, they are just great orators.
Yeah.
Can I add Obama something? Is a whisperer. I mean, you know how they say he's an auditory whisperer. I mean, he just, like you said, he knows when to move. Just like the movement of his hand causes the crowd to settle down, or he does these gestures and then makes the crowd go crazy. He not only uses his words, but he's also using his body. He makes sure your hand moves. His hand goes far up to ascend, and then he brings you back down. He's using his hands in motion.
Right.
Brian, go ahead.
Gwendolyn, what do you have to say, my dear? Gwendolyn?
Oh, I thought Brian was going to say something.
Yeah, sorry.
Brian was saying something? Okay.
Sorry. Dude, I just put in the chat. They're literary assassins.
Yes,
they are literary assassins.
They are so good.
Yeah.
Did he freeze?
He did
froze
it
again. We gotta give him. We gotta give Brian a good signal area.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, you froze. We gotta get you in the area. We gotta find the area for you in your area where you live, and you need to designate. I can get reception. We love you, Brian.
Can I add something to this conversation? Because we haven't touched on it at all, and I want to make sure it's talked about. So last night, and this whole DNC is unprecedented in one way, that Republicans are being highlighted in such a strong manner. Let me start with
Here we go.
Anna
That's
Navarro. Anna Navarro hosted last night's talk. And what I loved is she is a lifelong Republican, like all the other Republicans that spoke. And for the simple fact that these people can see that Donald Trump is a threat to this country, to our democracy, that they have to cross party lines and put country before party and talk about why it is important to vote for Harris Walz. Mm-hmm. I love them for that. The fact that, one, you have all these Republicans coming to them and saying, hey, I would love to speak. And then, they're being truthful and honest that, listen, I'm scared, but this is something that I have to do. Kudos to the Democrats for that.
Yeah. Well, here we go. We had Stephanie Grisham, former Trump White House press secretary. She last night endorsed Harris. We also had last night Republican Mayor John Gilles endorse Harris. There were several others, but tonight they got 5 big names in the Republican Party that are going to be on stage again today. So they've incorporated now each day. Yesterday you had Republicans. Tomorrow you're going to have Republicans, and I'm sure on Thursday night you're going to have Republicans. Wait, what day is it?
So the only person I think that's not on the list as of right now, the biggest hitter, is Liz Cheney. Everybody else, Kensington, I forget how to pronounce his last name.
I wish Liz Cheney could be there. I really do.
So did I. But she said she's going to do whatever she can to make sure that Trump does not get back into office. So she's going to help behind the scenes. And I'm sure we'll see her over these next 11 weeks. But I'm just so glad that you've got people coming out from the Republican Party and saying, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm not with this crazy man. We need to put someone who we can, who's going to defend democracy and the Constitution into office.
Right. And you never know. Sometimes people may have to not be on the list, but be a surprise on the stage.
Oh,
because of circumstances. So you don't know who may pop in. And I think what was important with the mayor that spoke last night was he said he was the one Republican that I've heard so far say we have to vote everything blue. Mm-hmm. Acknowledging that she's gonna need. He didn't say it out loud, but the way he said it, he understands she's gonna need the House and the Senate.
Yep.
But he did say that when he spoke, and I paid particular attention to that. And I know I don't know if you've been paying attention to some of the things Drowning in Music has been saying, but Drowning and I know the people in the comments have told you, 45 said out of his mouth, I'll be dictator on day one. Now, whether or not you believe a dictator will walk away from being a dictator after having that kind of power in their hand, no dictator has ever given up a dictatorship once they've established one. So just to be real clear, he said it out of his mouth. And if you don't believe it, you can go and watch the video. It wasn't an AI generated thing. He said it more than once. So I wanted to really clarify.
The Fox anchors try to get him to back down off his own statement.
Just want to be real clear about that part, about what the facts are.
Thank you for that, Elise.
So here's my thought. Here's my thought real quick. So we've mentioned inclusion, right? Because you have people from different parties who are like, hey, but more importantly, I think a lot of us, I believe a lot of us are just done with the chaos. Like we've had 2020 by itself was chaotic. 21, we still felt it. Like we were just done with the chaos. Like our emotional cup, it is empty. Like it is time for something that is normal and fresh and hopeful and joyful. People are over all this other stuff. As Barack said, we've seen this movie before. And we know that the people are usually worse, right? Like, why do we need to go back down there? We don't need to go back down this road again. We have seen what the 4 years are. I also like to say that when he talked about Walz, he mentioned how he was clearly the average guy. He's like, those flannel shirts, clearly he's not
Yeah.
working with somebody, because you don't get them flannel
He's
shirts
not going to
from
the
like
designer to
a
get
consultant.
suited up.
And I
That ain't
love
from
his
a
wife's
sponsor.
response.
His wife
His
was
wife
like,
responded like, yeah.
Like, we're talking everyday average people who are running for a very high position and thinking about all of us. When I look at the policies in 2025, I am sorry, I don't see myself, I don't see my babies, my grandkids, I don't see a plan for them in there. And if you strip away all of your political affiliations and just look at the value, most Americans are truly together. We want good schools, good communities, a good paying job, being able to live our life as we see fit without harming other people. Like, that's all we're asking for. That is it. And a lot of us can agree on that. And at this point, what I see on the other side, when you are fixated on being a misogynist and racist, is just, I cannot see myself in that. Like, I just can't.
Can I
before you go, I
that?
just want to read this out before
Okay.
Brian, before you go. This was Obama's quote: "We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know how that sequel is that sequel is usually worse." So, I mean, that was such a, and people were obviously loved that line. It was a great line, great share. Go ahead, Brian.
2 points. 2 points. One, yesterday, while this was going on, Convict Orange was here in Michigan. He pulled up to the exact same hangar that I was at. That's not AI generated. The crowd size was about this big, but if you go look at the photos, they were very they were cropped to make it seem as though it was a bigger crowd. What's his obsession with crowd sizes? I don't know, but where he went when he was here, he had a stop in Howell, Michigan. Anybody who knows this area, Howell has been trying to get rid of their past for decades. Howell, Michigan is the birthplace of the KKK in Michigan. He stopped there to talk about criminal justice. Go figure. So that's one thing. Second, one of the takeaways for me last night that hit me and had me up late like all of us, my 12-year-old, my youngest son, my 12-year-old, I made him watch a good portion of that yesterday. And it hit me, whether, this is my opinion, I feel like all of us, whether consciously or unconsciously, have been traumatized. We have been abused emotionally, mentally. Think about this. He wasn't just president for one term. He has been consistently traumatizing us for at least 14 years. 14 years. 2010, 2011 is when Convict Orange, I'm changing his name to Orange Thanos because all of us are coming together like the Avengers. Orange Thanos started this back in 2010 with birtherism against Forever FLOTUS, Michelle Obama, and former President Barack Obama. For 14 years, we have
You've been traumatized.
Yeah, and I say that because it hit me yesterday when I'm watching my son watch this, and I realized I told him, son, he was frustrated because he wanted to go play his video games. I said, listen, what year were you born? Xavier's born in 2012. I said, son, you were born during history. That man right there, he's the first African American president. We're about to elect our first African Asian American woman president. And all he is conscious of is Convict Orange Thanos, because he was too young to reclaim or recognize Obama. So I just leave that with you guys. That's what got me, was that the trauma, the emotional trauma, and the reminder last night of, it's not a bad thing to have hope for the future. If we don't have hope, we will continue to be traumatized by this 14 years plus of this weird, deranged, whatever on the other side. Yeah. So that's my two things I wanted to add.
That's a great point.
You know, I'm seeing Drowning in Music is really sharing some thoughts, and we love that when you're in this platform that you can share your thoughts. You do not have to be a Kamala Harris supporter to be in this community. However,
can I
this community is driven to be we are supporters of Kamala Harris. So I
can I
just want to make that plain. But number
can I
two is
comment
I
on
see
Drowning
that,
in Music? Can I
yeah,
respond to
Drowning in
his
Music.
comment?
Yeah, go ahead,
So
Chris.
put that comment up. I think it's important to put it up. And I'll read it. He wasn't a dictator his last term,
Oh, that's
guys.
the one.
What makes you think he'll be one if elected? Okay, let me just address that. He wasn't a dictator the first term because he had people around him preventing him from doing that. If he was to come into power the second time, he doesn't have those people anymore. And then on top of it, when people tell you who they are, believe them. They know who they are. He has said, I'm going to be a dictator on day one, just for one day. But as G said, no one ever goes into being a dictator and only does it for a day. You go to be a dictator for a reason because you want power. And when you have that power, you're never going to let it go. So let's not be naive and make that statement. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm glad you brought it up. But just really consciously think of that question and you can answer it yourself.
Can I add on to
that? Go ahead, Gwendolyn. I'll let you add on first.
All right. And it'll be short because, okay, so I've never seen The Handmaid's Tale until Ron told me like last week, don't judge me. Here's the part that got me. When people were like, we didn't see it coming, we were blindsided. And there was that assumption that this could never happen here because we let things go. Like, that'll never happen. There are all these stops. There are all these things, these checks and balances. Okay, so the fact that we got this far,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It could happen.
Right.
If anything, the banning of books, this really big push for school vouchers, and in their idea to eliminate the Department of Education, let's not say what can happen when people are telling you what they're going to do. I am
controlling
done.
women's
And we
body.
also have the proof in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has already set the stage for this man to act as a dictator. So we can't, again, like it's being said, we cannot be naive that the groundwork has already been set. And if you've been following Mark Elias's platform, Democracy,
Democracy Docket.
Was it
Docket?
Democracy what? Docket. You will see he gives you a scoreboard every day of the policies that Republicans are putting out and how they have to go to court and strike it down. The seed work has already been planted because of those folks from January 6th, all the people that did want to do things, and like Chris said, were preventing Trump to do it. Remember, in his last term, he said he wanted to get rid of the Constitution.
Yeah.
But they were like, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't do that. So don't be naive. All the folks out there that say, oh, it can't happen in America. Now, and I'm going to give you one story, and then we're going to kind of like summarize it, sum it up. I met this photographer who photographed in Venezuela. He lived in Venezuela. He was a Venezuelan photographer. Venezuela had peaked in this economy. They were doing great. They had oil. They had all these things happening. They had a full democracy. They had a full democracy, Venezuela. And then what happened is what is happening in America now. I'll never forget our discussion last year. He said, Ron, what I'm seeing happening in America with the Republican Party is what happened in Venezuela. He said, and when it happened, we did not see it coming.
Right.
And he said, I am looking at what's going on in America through the Republican Party, these mega folks. And when the takeover happens, it happens so swift. But it's a gradual decline. Like they're changing laws, they're changing policies, they're changing all these things. And then, bam, you no longer have your democracy. And now you're wondering why there are people from Venezuela migrating from Venezuela, moving their way through Central America to come to America, like himself. Because they did not. Could you imagine? You were a doctor in Venezuela, and now you have a suitcase traveling hundreds of miles because you lost your democracy. You were a lawyer, and now you have a backpack on your back, traveling through Central America to try to come to the United States of America because you lost your democracy. This is how and when we look at Project 25, we all go back to Project 25. The mandate is there. If you want to know about what's going on, just take a look at Project 2025. And that's what anyone that thinks dictatorship cannot happen in America.
So Ron, that phrase that they use is the same phrase that people used when Hitler took over. We did not see it coming. Yeah. We saw things, we ignored them. We were like, oh, it's not going to happen. And then and there's the line in the book that says, before they knew what was happening, it was too late. And as far as things that dictators do, that we want to know in 45's own words, you want to militarize, you want to give the military the right to suppress protesters. You want to arrest people who oppose you. That's what dictators do. You want to go after anyone who opposed you politically, who doesn't have their own views. You want to clear the government of anyone working in the government who does not support you. You want to remove they want to, in the beginning, that first 180 days, remove about 50,000 people who and replace them with their own people that they're currently training. That's what dictators do. So the steps that dictators do are already happening. And I want people to be real clear that he said it out of his mouth. You want to give police officers total immunity. You want to, all of those things are what dictators do. That's how Hitler operated. And remember, those people did not get their right to vote back. And he's already said, you elect me again, you won't have to worry about voting again in 4 years. That's what dictators do. And the people in Germany did not get their vote back until after World War II in 1946. That's what dictators do.
And to echo that, and thank you, Ron, perfect timing. I've detailed this in one of our previous discussions where my mind was like, brain just exploding, because look at history. History may not repeat, but it sure is rhyming. And that's where I think Liz Cheney, I may not agree with policies, but where I am with her 100%, she's a student of history. And I've detailed this. Hitler came to power, how Hitler came to power, and how Germany went from a democracy into a dictatorship in less than a year's time is freaking scary. And the even scarier aspect is that he tricked the voting majority of the citizens to vote for their own demise. It's historical. It's historical. I'll spare you the long version, but I'm just echoing what you guys are saying to, I don't know who that was, but the historical aspect is what alarms me. When I look at from late 1929, or even before that, I believe it was 1926, when Hitler tried to overthrow the government. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Then he was jailed. He got out. He did his time, but he was more popular. He was a great orator. Right. He gained more popularity. Does that sound familiar? They tried to appease him by giving him a seat in the government, which only emboldened him more. And so from there on, they started to take a little by little before anybody realized it. Boom. By the end of 1933, he had outlawed free speech. It was illegal to protest. Jewish people couldn't work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until 1945. So I get people, we all have our different opinions, and I actually have family members who literally, like, just poke their head up and like, wait, what's going on politically? I get it. But to me, it goes back to the simple difference between a democracy and a dictatorship, period. What is with the collective amnesia of a good portion of America who do not remember the 4 years this man was in office? His response to COVID. I lost 14 freaking family members to COVID. And knowing that this man knew and froze, and I say knowing because I'm listening to his own voice in Bob Woodward's audiobook, The Trump Tapes, where he acknowledges on calls to Bob Woodward. So anyway, yeah, it's a historical. Sorry, that gets me, and I'm knocking on doors, and I'm hearing from some Trump supporters who they're respectful, but I'm just like, dude,
listen. You know what you need to ask these Trump supporters? Ask them if they injected themselves with the bleach that he told them to go to clear up their COVID. I mean, the things that came out this man's mouth over the 4 years, like if these people would have done a tenth of the things that he said to do, we would have wiped out a good portion of the American population.
Right.
That's right.
And Ron, I want to just say one last thing for the people who say,
you guys
I hear a lot of people saying, oh, people are trying to scare people. This is what I tell people all the time. If us sharing the facts with you, not our opinion, frightens you, then it's not us that's frightening you. It's the truth.
It's the truth.
And and then recognize, and I'm going to say again, dictators do what this man has said he's going to do. That's what dictators do. They want to go after everybody that doesn't agree with everything they want to happen, who oppose them. That's what they do. And as far as camps and things, they already have private prisons. Ready for the people, because that's about money as well. Ready for those people. So remember, if the facts are what's frightening you, when we share them, because I only share facts. If that's frightening you, then it's not us that's frightened trying to do anything. You're afraid of what's actually happening. Because Project 2025 is actually happening in this country and what can happen.
I love this. Girls Club says, then be scared and then do something. You're being scared should cause you to be doing something about it. And again, Trump has spent 14 years not only going after the Obamas and everyone else, but he has gone after every pillar to democracy, the court systems, the leaders, the bureaucracy, the order of things. He has gone after every foundational thing for democracy. You don't think there's a reason why he's doing it? He's following the same plan.
Education.
Want to destroy education in this country.
And so guys, that's it. We had a round table today. This was really good. Elise, where can people find you?
At SALIEZE _ on Instagram.
And Gwendolyn, where can people find you?
I'm Black Power Bunny on Instagram and GR Houston Jack on YouTube.
And Brian, where can we find you?
Brian Young Creative on Instagram and practically any other social media except for Twitter.
And Chris, my partner in crime, where can they find you, sir?
Well, they can normally find me here, but when you want to look for me, I'm constantly _changing the number 4 on all the social platforms except for Twitter. So find me there.
Awesome. And you can find me here every day with all of you. Touch Base Daily at 10. And also, I forgot to put my little crawl up as I keep doing, but I'm gonna do it now. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that button and share this conversation. If you got something out of this conversation, share it with your friends, share it with your cousins. Maybe it will help them understand some of this stuff. You know why? Because we're all speaking in layman terms. We're all speaking in basics. None of us are going in here talking with philosophy and message board. We are sharing with you facts. that we and quoting things that Trump has said or we've seen on, in the news. And so come on, guys, share the information, like, subscribe, and share. And I think that's it. So I think we're good. We're gonna be here tomorrow. We're gonna again to continue to celebrate the DNC. I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do tonight. I mean, you're gonna have some great people there tonight talking. I can't wait to see what the Republicans are gonna say because I'm a former Republican also. So I get excited when I see all my Republican friends. No, my fellow Republicans, we support Kamala Harris, and we are here to support democracy. That's what it's all about. It's supporting democracy. And so that's what we're here for, guys. Thank you for joining us. Guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Chris, thank you. Gwendolyn, Brian, Elise, thank you for joining me today on Touch Base Daily. And I hope the audience community, because this is not just an audience, this is a community. And thank you for being a part of this community today. And we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
And I want to goodbye. Goodbye. Later. Oh, wrong button. Oh, what's going on? I can't get my outro. What's going on? My outro's not working.